Who's gonna be the one to tell him? He's perhaps a little too big for that anemone. We've got coronavirus! No, we're just super worried. So hey everybody, Arnaldo Hoffman. This is my wife, Monica. We are on the way to run a couple errands and then we're gonna go pick up a 40-gallon saltwater tank. This guy's selling it. It's used, obviously, but he just doesn't have time to take care of his tanks anymore. He's selling the tank. It's a Red Sea with the stand, with the sump, the filter, the power heads, pretty much everything, including livestock and rock. Everything with an AI Prime for 750 bucks. I wasn't gonna get it because I'm dealing with the whole brown algae thing. I'm like, I shouldn't, but my wife talked me into it. She's like, YOLO. So plus, I've been wanting a red scooter blending and I don't want to put one in the main display since I've already got a mandarin. So this will be a good way to start doing that. Or maybe I'll make it a fish only and look into a small puffer of some kind, because puffers are the greatest fish of all time. These are facts. So we're on the way, first 2 rods to go get the the new filters for my roadie. Now let's go get this tank. You might have to put the little nozzle underneath the rock. Yeah, that's fine. I'll hold it in there.
One's over there on that side.
So guys, there's quite a bit here. So what do we got here? Well, he said it's been covered with hair algae. You know, we've all been through that, but nothing a little GFO won't fix. We've got a yellow tang. We have what did he say was it? I can't remember what type of clown it is now. I'll have to look in a minute because the water's moving a lot. And there is a lawnmower blending. And then we've got stuff back here, just a few minor things, and then an entire truck full. And now my wife is gonna drive, so paranoid right now. But if anybody can do it, it's my super excited wifey about all this. Y'all, don't let her fool you. She likes the hobby.
Oh, yes, sure. Yay.
She was okay. She was really a fan of it when we got a hippo tang. And then when it struck, she was not as thrilled. What?
The truth is, I let him do this because I was tired of him freak out lately on me.
What I'm gonna do now is freak out.
Coronavirus!
No. Hey, we got catfish. Hello. Okay, bye. Need a pea bird. Oh. Munch. So, I'm taking just a little bit of water, tap water, and a magic eraser, cleaning it out. And then we're gonna vacuum all the water up, let it dry. We're gonna put some roadie in it real quick. Finish cleaning it with a roadie. Let that dry again. And then we're gonna fill it up with some salt water. I'm not gonna clean the sump. I'm just gonna make sure it's the way it should, but we don't wanna crash the tank. So we're gonna leave that sump as is right now. So we've got the live rock here. Starting to fill it up with some of the original water. We're gonna put sand at the bottom of the refugia. We're gonna keep this bare bottom until I can go to Rod's next week to get some sand. And once it settles in for a bit, we'll test the water and we'll put the livestock in there that he already had. But for the most part, it should be okay because we didn't really remove too much. If anything, I cleaned up some of the algae and everything. I'm leaving some of the crap in there, and once it settles, we should be okay. Washing the socks now. This is actually pretty dope because the overflow tank sits here on top. It's just fed by gravity, and then you remove the sock going this way. That's pretty neat. So let's get that taken care of. We've got a Simplicity pump here. We've got an ice cap gyre. You've got the power supply here. He says he just added a little cheap refugium light, but it looks pretty good. So yeah, let's keep this going. Now let's do the skimmer, clean that out a little bit, put it back in. Yo, there's so much stuff. He even threw in this aqua UV reactor, which we need to see what works, what doesn't work. He said he doesn't know, but he threw it in. And Peebs. Now we're gonna reset the AIFI. There's the fish there. It's coming along nicely. So that first overflow is working there. Obviously when it gets too high, that second overflow kicks in. And yeah, that's looking really good. So I'm gonna do something I don't ever recommend anybody to do with salt water, but I'm gonna test the water. If it's good as far as nitrates and ammonia and nitrites, then I'm gonna start acclimating them in. I'm gonna check the water levels daily to make sure there is no ammonia spike. And of course I got stability and all that. The only reasons I'm concerned is that all this sand just got moved around, obviously. I did not dump all the sand it originally had because it does push bacteria and everything around and it can cause a spike. But you don't want that to happen. So I used a little of that sand. We'll be adding some fresh substrate to that pretty soon and we'll see how well that works. But we'll keep an eye on things. We'll eventually vacuum all that crap out from the bottom there. So we'll do that shortly and we'll test it out. While the water is tested, let's go ahead and dip the coral. There's a few pieces that are just completely covered in hair algae. But for this, we're going to be using, let's go over here, Sea-Chem Reef Dip. It's a good coral disinfectant. It works for LPS, SPS. Is it as strong as, for example, doing an iodine dip? No, but I don't want to put them through that until I see a reason why. This is a good way to get everything disinfected and kind of start from the ground zero. Ammonia is pretty much at 0. Nitrites are 0. Nitrates, however, are a different story. They are a little bit high, probably between 20 to 40. Just to be safe, I am going to put some prime in here. Especially since I'll be doing another water change in the next few days or so. But at least the fish will do okay. The coral I'm kind of conflicted with. You know, I mean, the coral came from this tank, so it should be okay. But I'm not exactly happy with where all that came from. All the, you know, detritus and dirt and everything else in there. So I'm probably just going to get that vacuumed up tomorrow. And I'll put the coral towards the back. We'll see how well it reacts. If it comes out and it looks happy, great. If it doesn't, I'll make a separate quarantine tank for the coral. But since it came out of this tank, I figure it can go back in this tank. So I am super stoked. The animals have been introduced. He's actually doing pretty well. I mean, before he was completely white, which happens when they're sleeping anyways. But his color came back in. He explored around. Now he's in his little corner. The anemone, as you can see, a reflection right there. So the goal, or the thing is, I'm going to be buying some new sand. I'm going to vacuum this up, slowly put the new sand in, but I'm kind of hoping this just keeps the cycle going so it transfers, you know, the bacteria transfers much to the rocks as possible. The rocks were not out of the water for that long, so I don't see that being an issue. Now, the coral, I did put it back in. I kept it on this rack that it came with, so that's actually pretty dope. There is some of the hair algae there. Most of the hair algae came off. You can actually see there's some zoas there. And I didn't do a Melifix dip or anything like that. I figured they're stressed enough. So for now, I did a basic dip with the reef stuff that I showed you. Not the Reef RX, but the reef dip. And I also did a peroxide dip to get rid of as much hair algae as possible. So I was worried about, okay, I don't know what critters are in here. I have no idea what critters may be in the Cato. This thing could be ridden with aptasia. Now, the previous owner didn't see any, doesn't mean that it's not there. But what I'm hoping is that, again, I'm not introducing anything to this tank. This isn't a tank, you know, that I moved to another one, or the livestock to a new tank. This was literally just transferred from one house to the other. So if there's an issue, we can take care of it and figure it out. Obviously, I might redo the rock work. My wife likes the rocks like that, you know, some little nooks and crannies there, which is what's important, especially because the goal is to add one of the red scooter blennies in here. And my man Rob with Coral Bargain Warehouse has one that I know he's going to be dying to sell me. But pods first. Actually, as soon as my wife feels better, I know she's going to be up here pod hunting because that is what she's good at. Woman can see pods with her bare eyes. So we'll see how that turns out. And yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching. Look, the turbo snail is already at work. He wasted no time. If you have any questions, comments, or tips, if you think I did something wrong and want to tell me off, please leave it in the comments below. Thanks for watching. God bless.
Coronavirus!